You are listening to the Choose Your Struggle podcast, a member of the Shameless Podcast Network. Welcome to the Choose Your Struggle podcast with me, your host, Jay Shifman. On this show, we seek to end stigma and promote honest and fact-based education around mental health, substance misuse and recovery, and drug use and policy, but other times we branch out to other misunderstood topics. This episode was recorded live at the Podcast Movement Conference in Nashville. But first, Kid Mental, let's go.
Things ain't always gonna go our way, but you can always win when you choose your struggle. And some battles will be yesterday, but today is for a new beginning. Choose your struggle, and don't worry about what they say, but you can always win when you choose your struggle. And you can bounce back just as Jay. Come on and listen to Choose Your Struggle. Choose your struggles. Choose your struggle. Choose your struggle.
Hello and welcome to a special Monday Motivation episode of the Choose Your Struggle podcast. This was recorded live at the Podcast Movement Conference in Nashville that I told you all that I was going to. It was a fantastic conference. I learned a lot very quickly. As I mentioned on Friday, and you heard again today, the new lead-in intro is directly because of that conference. I had the opportunity to be critiqued by some incredible people in the industry who all had great things to say about the show. One thing they pointed out, which is true, is that it's hard to know what my show is about based on my cover art and my the name of the show. And so needing some kind of intro is a major point for this show, and I agree with that. That was definitely some good feedback. So you're going to hear that more often going forward. I also got to meet some pretty incredible people. This is a long list, so I'm going to go ahead and just get this part out of the way. This episode is dedicated, of course, to the three people that are on it, and I'm going to say that in a moment. But first, before that, the rest of the dedications to some other amazing people who made this conference unreal. Number one, Questlove. Got to see a Questlove DJ set, which was on the bucket list, and thanks to iHeartMedia for bringing him in. Also, a big shout out to Lauren Passell of Tink Media. Isabel Knight, who y'all will hear from soon. I'm going to be on her show, I Am the Villain, and we'll try to do some kind of episode where she gets on here. She's fantastic. Ariel Nissenblatt of Earbuds newsletter, really fantastic newsletter. If you're in the podcast space, check out Earbuds. Ariel is fantastic. We're going to work together on something coming up. Jeff Mendelson, who I was on his show not long ago, called One Big Tip, and really great show, great guy. Ben Bolin and the other hosts of the fantastic, one of my favorite podcasts, Stuff They Don't Want You to Know, on the Stuff Network of iHeart. He and his co-host. It's a wonderful show. I mean, I could give a shout out to all of them, every person involved in that show. It's one of my favorites, but I actually got to meet Ben and chat with him for a bit. Fantastic guy. Had some really wonderful things to say about me and my show, so thank you, Ben. Greg Clunas, you all know him, former guest on the show, host of Tiny Leaps, Big Changes. Had a lot of fun finally meeting him in person, hanging out with him throughout the week. Maribel Chiazada Smith, sorry Maribel that I butchered your middle name, really wonderful presentation, fantastic time talking to her. She had some really great tips about how to do better in podcasting. Leah St. Clair, who is the producer for Questlove's show, as well as the amazing Jill Scott. I got to see her speak, and she has a show that Leia is the she does a lot of the work for her. So thank you. She had some great tips as well. Philly person, we connected. She's going to help hook me up with some stuff. Thank you to her. Christoph Zajac Denek, who is the wonderful host of I'm Kind of a Big Deal, about his life living with dwarfism. Really amazing dude. And Patrick Oliver Jones, who we're also going to do some work together. He has a great show about mental health. So thank you to all of you. However, this episode is a conversation with three pretty incredible people, two of whom you already know. That would be Imran Ahmed of Great Pods. You've heard him a couple weeks ago. My amazing friend, Jenn Trepeck of Salad with a Side of Fries. And new friend of the show, Cory Zechmann, who I met through Imran. I hung out with the three of them all week. Pretty much everything I did was with at least one of them. I can attest from multiple meals that Jenn really does eat salad with a side of fries pretty much all day, every day. So that was in real life. But really, the three of them were the rock during this conference. We were the crew. They're really incredible people, and you'll hear that we had a lot of fun together on this episode as we chat about the conference. So there will be more of sort of the fallout from this conference. All good, but the takeaways from this show are, number one, if you care about the podcast industry, this is the episode for you. We get really in depth about some interesting ideas and what we learned. If you don't love the podcast industry, this one may get a little boring for you, but we have a lot of fun doing it, and I think you hear that. So without further ado, enjoy this conversation with my incredible friends Cory, Imran, and Jenn. In June of 2021, I accomplished something that is all too rare for those with lived experience. I told my story and made my call for change from a TED stage. The fact is, our society puts too much emphasis on those with learned experience. You know, the person who spent 20 years researching something. And that's okay, because those voices are incredibly important. They provide the information that the rest of us run with. But we can't minimize the voice of those who've actually lived these experiences. That person doing research can't tell you what it really feels like to go through withdrawals, and they shouldn't want to. We need all voices at these tables. So if you're looking for someone who actually has lived these experiences, who can talk about struggling with mental health and substance misuse, who can talk about what it really feels like to go through addiction, who can speak eloquently about the war on drugs from both a learned and lived experience, reach out to me. And if you're looking to create a more complete experience, a roundtable or whole cadre of speakers, I can bring numerous people with me who have experiences that are unlike mine and unlike anything else that you've heard. So reach out to me today and let's create a complete learning experience for your office, your club, your school, or anywhere else, because these voices need to be heard and these lessons can create change today. Reach out and let's all choose our struggle. Thanks for sharing the podcast with your friends. If you're listening on Apple, please rate and review or check out the review link in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm going to be very businesslike.
This is what podcasts are.
Ones and twos.
You missed our session this morning. That was vulnerability.
That's true.
Is the winner.
Oh. I missed all the BIPOC stuff too.
No, there's something
they
now.
pushed it right now. You're missing it right now.
Oh, what the
Why are we not recording?
guys?
Start recording.
We are recording.
Oh, we are recording.
You're recording?
Yes.
God.
So we are live. Well, we won't be live when you hear this. We are at recording this at Pod Movement 2021 in the HubSpot Podcast Network booth. We wanted to take this opportunity to put something down while we're all here, which is pretty cool. So we'll do an introduction real quick. Obviously, you all know me, Jay Shifman, host of Choose Your Struggle.
I am Cory Zechmann. I host, I'm on a music vlog called Silence No Good. I work at Hark, an audio clipping app as well.
Cory has
He's got an
3 a.m.
NPR
voice.
voice.
I'm so hungover. I'm
He's
sorry.
talking
That was a
about the
great
latest
intro for me.
Lumineers album for WQRF in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
I was just so distracted by your voice. Okay. Hey guys, Jenn Trepeck, host of Salad with a Side of Fries. Y'all know me, I
Yes,
think. Hopefully.
multiple times.
Dr. Dre,
Yeah.
Eminem,
Y'all know me. Still the same emoji.
And you know that
And no
fourth
king.
voice from just a couple of weeks ago.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
No, don't do this.
Why can't I can't do
This
my
is our NPR
ASMR
voice.
intro?
You don't have your mic.
All right. Well, it is a Shure mic though, I think.
Sure.
So it is
Just
like my mic.
introduce
Just introduce
All right,
yourself.
my name is the Captain Ron Imran. I am the founder of greatpods.co, not .com, and we are.
My listeners know who you are.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm here.
So
This is going well.
I'm here.
This is
I'm
what
here.
happens 4 days into
Look, we
a
saw
24-hour
Questlove
conference.
last night, and it got late. That's all.
Got lit.
So we're recording this on at lunchtime on Friday. We all have been here. The conference started on Tuesday. We are here, I will say, because of Mr. Imran from Great Pods. because we'd all been talking about it, and he was like, "Yo, let's just pull this trigger," and we did. And so we did not know Cory. Cory was one of the captain's friends.
No new friends.
Yes. No. And it's been a fun week. This is all of our first in-person conference. Well, the captain's taking a picture. We met. I think I mentioned this on an episode that we met the captain, Jenn, and I at this networking event. Last fall/winter, and became
When
friends.
was it? Was it December or was it November?
I said, we've been saying December, and I said that to somebody, and he literally just looked at me and was like, it was November. Like, all right, that's not the most important part of that story. So, anywho, we've all had a very long week. You can hear it in our voices. But we wanted to take this opportunity to just talk about the conference. So I think, Cory, since you haven't had a chance to really talk to my listeners, why don't you go first?
Wait. I had such a good introduction. So.
Well, have you been to one of these before?
No, I've been to a lot of conferences, but nothing podcast specific.
But you've been in the space for a while.
Yeah, I have been, especially with more so on radio. So I come from TuneIn with Imran. He was also at TuneIn, and then we worked at Himalaya, another podcasting app, and now I work at Hark. So yeah, I've been in the space for 7 years.
So was this what you were expecting, or
not at all?
Okay.
No,
well, then let's hear that.
I really loved, unlike a lot of the other conferences, that it's very specific to one thing, which obviously this is. You just see a lot of different people because I talk about this a lot. Podcasting, it's everything, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different people.
Yeah, and this is something that Jenn and I were talking about a lot yesterday, that the accessibility of podcasting is such a beautiful thing, but it's also one of those things where, like, people reach out to you and they talk to you and they pitch you in a way that, like, you wouldn't do that to, like, Good Morning America. Like, why is it that you feel comfortable reaching out to me to send me your shitty pitch? But yes, there is also benefits of that as well. And the fact that, the two of us didn't know you until 2 days ago, and now we're like best friends.
Yeah, it just seems like we've known each other longer.
That's true. Yeah. Jenn?
But I think that's the piece about coming to these kinds of events, right? Like, yes, we all came hopefully to learn a few things, but mostly to meet the people and connect and reconnect. And that's definitely been the best part of, this week is building those relationships. Like, look, we all knew each other, but we had only ever met virtually.
Right.
Like, #COVID. So... to be here, to meet people in person, to have those kinds of conversations, like, for example, even at the trade show booths, my hosting provider, like, their tech guy gave me his email address. Those are the kinds of things that only happen in these environments, and it's totally worth it and super fun. And
because if you were to cold email them in LinkedIn,
right,
they would be, like, ignored.
Yeah.
Versus you see now they know that you exist. Like,
you're a person now.
You're a person. Yeah, you are.
I want to say though, Jenn, that's awesome that your provider is here. I was a little disappointed, Transistor, that y'all aren't at this conference because
nothing like a shout out.
You're if you're hearing this, a big up and coming one, and you weren't here, and so I'm disappointed about that.
Shout out to Transistor for not being
being at this.
Sponsored by.
So Simplecast is who I use. They're here. We are in the HubSpot booth.
Yeah.
HubSpot.
I don't know
learn
anything
more.
about HubSpot.
HubSpot.com/podcast network. Listen, learn, and grow.
So if you're listening to this at this point, if you're still listening, it means that
taglines.
you are really into this industry, because this is going to be what you've heard for the last now 5 minutes is just what the next half an hour is going to be.
Do you remember? Okay, so Jay, earlier this week, I'm going to skip off to, this is Captain Ron, by the way. Jay, earlier this week, got critiqued for his first 30 seconds of his podcast. So, all right.
Thank you.
And on stage was a bunch of iHeart personalities giving the judging and giving advice on his first 30 seconds.
Bobby Bones.
Bones.
So, by the way, for all week, I've been calling him Brad Bones, and somebody was like, that's not his name.
Brad is not.
You should have shouted out, Dancing with the Stars, champion, let's
right.
go.
Hey, no, but Choose Your Struggle listeners, like...
Yeah.
Keep an ear out for shifts coming to the very
100%.
beginning of Jay's podcast, because that's what happens. Like, we learn, we grow, we adapt. Tips. We're gonna
now
things up.
Jen and I, you should actually drop that if you edit this part out, but you should drop the audio that we're gonna send. You sent the video. I don't know if you sent the video or not. She was recording. I was recording. If we can hear the audio, drop the audio into this episode.
Well,
of the critique.
I'm definitely going to talk about that because as you all know, because I was saying this, I wasn't going to take any of their advice. I was like, what can you really learn in 30 seconds?
Yeah.
But some of the tips were good, and so there will be some changes, little things coming up.
That'll be fun to listen to the audio clip as we're rambling on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we got the special clip.
But sorry,
Go ahead.
taking this not podcast focus, like to the bigger world and everything that's going on, my mom said to me, "Oh, did you know people going to this?" And I was like, "Yeah." Legit, there's one person here who I had met in person before this. Everybody else I'd only met online. And I think for everybody in life right now, whether we're actually on our way out of this or not,
Right.
keep building those connections, meet people online, do the things. And it's really interesting what happens when you then go meet those people in person. I think it's been awesome.
So shout out to Greg Clunas, who's the one
Yes.
person she knew in person, who is a former Choose Your Struggle guest as well. Small world.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a perception of who you all three were before this, and then a different perception afterwards, like meeting someone in person versus just virtually? Is
Jay
there any
said I
difference?
was taller than he
That's
expected.
100%. I will say that's the only difference. I knew who Jen was,
Mm-hmm.
and then she was a little taller. You, Imran, were a little shorter than I thought.
He's very
What the-
short. He's a very short
And
person.
you were not at all
Just kidding.
the dude that I met this week was way less, in a good way, professional than the guy that you
Way less
presented.
professional?
Yeah. Like you
I think
came
Captain
you
off-
Ron,
come
baby.
off, I think you come off very strict, rigid, serious.
during work stuff.
Yeah, because
when
you're in
we
your
do,
house.
So
you're
P.S.
not-
We're all in this round table, right? This
yeah.
entrepreneurs round table. So we tend to talk once a month. And when we're in those Zoom sessions, you're very
Yes.
focused and serious and not in a bad
You gotta
way.
learn.
You are a
but
much
this
more-
was also fun and
Yes,
light and
you are a
hang
much more
out
fun
and-
guy than I thought you were,
Interesting.
which is a good thing.
Well,
Yeah.
it's part of the company culture that I want to build is that
It's strict,
is we get our shit done / we're a lot of fun.
but is that what you struggle with at Himalaya too? Was that like too?
Oh well,
The tune-in days, we
when
know.
t-
we
yeah,
were,
yeah.
we were having a good time.
I
Oh,
only
by the
know
way, for
him.
the list, these two have worked together. Even almost a decade now. How long?
Yeah, at least 7, right? Well,
let's just say 4 to 7 years.
Yeah.
But we worked together at
Yeah.
the TuneIn Radio app and at Himalaya.
Yep.
And in those times, there were fun. There were fun times. We made sure we worked and we complained and did all the normal work stuff.
he was the unofficial
Wait a minute. I like how
VP of
complain
fun at
was one
TuneIn.
of the official
Work
things.
things.
Yeah, we worked and we complained. Those
We
are the top
complained.
two.
I mean, that's all
We
of
do
us.
like to complain.
That's all of us.
There's a lot of
we
shit
We
that
like
I
to
do.
complain.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not. He was mentioning the unofficial.
Yeah, VP
I was
of
the
unofficial.
VP of fun
Fun.
because I had the
At TuneIn.
corporate card, and so when the C level, the CEOs and stuff didn't want to go to whether it was like the karaoke, happy
Karaoke.
hour, or anywhere else.
Speaking of
it was me.
karaoke.
So I would go. And that's why my voice is
Yeah, that's
very
why
deep
we're like
today,
this.
because I went to karaoke last night.
Jen and I
Summer's
went
hard out.
home after we all went out not together. We all went out together for so iHeart put on a party last night that brought in Questlove, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
And then Jen and I were like, all right, we're done at 11:30 midnight, and the rest of these guys went out, and I just can't even imagine. So
Wait, I want to go back to Questlove for a hot second because
Yeah.
he was amazing.
it was amazing.
He had a really good
And-
mix.
Yeah.
Listen, only certain people can go from Britney Spears
Yep.
to
The Bee Gees or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah, and everything in between. And then I hope I'm not giving away his shtick, but so he ended walking out
Oh yeah.
to "Is This Love?"
He just left it on.
Just left it on playing on repeat.
Yeah, and somebody else had to come
Over
out.
and over and over, and then he has a guy who comes out and turns it off. But
I want that to be
no
my job title.
joke.
So he customized. So I listened to his or watched his masterclass about DJing, and
Yeah.
he does customize for every different
Oh,
one. He has
shit.
just so much music, and I was really wondering what, why
Made
did he
him
choose
pick
the
certain
music?
things.
for this conference. Like,
He knew his audience.
yeah.
He
I
knew
mean,
his audience.
Who is
and
this audience?
they
though?
went nuts
I mean,
for Nirvana. I mean, we all did. I went
Right.
nuts for Nirvana too, as a
Yeah.
brown guy.
I think it's very on brand that you watched his masterclass.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise
Yeah,
me.
but not for
About
nothing.
DJing.
I totally want to go watch his masterclass.
So
Definitely
shout
get
out
the free
to
trial.
Masterclass.
Free
Yeah.
trial.
Yeah.
And just binge it like we all do with all free trials.
So another highlight I think this week was
Jay dancing his ass off, showing off his booty on the
Fine.
dance
Well,
floor.
he
loves
starting,
it. Such
a booty
starting,
man.
starting the dance circle. Last
was-
night. That
oh,
was
yeah,
the
that was
main.
nuts.
That was the highlight of the night. It was the main circle. There's some circles here and there later, but that was the main one. It was Jay. It
intentional.
was all
That
Jay.
was me. He put on back that ass up, and I got down
Back
to
that
3-point
ass up.
stance. And then Captain tapped me on the shoulder, and I look up, and there's a circle around me. I was like, oh shit. No, that's not what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say was when you got a shout out from one of the bigger what is her
Ariel.
earbuds. Yeah,
Ariel.
It was sort of a tongue-in-cheek shout out, but it was very funny to me.
And so that brings it back to JJJ because Jay talked to Ariel right before, or when I saw the tweet. We were our friend in the pod universe, Lauren Passell. Shout out to her as well. But she was doing a talk, and we all went to support her. I got in a minute late, and I saw Jay sitting behind Ariel, and I think the story, you can retell the story, but the story that I didn't believe you for the longest time was that he did talk to Ariel and talked about great pods as well. And then I got a tweet alert that Ariel had made a tongue-in-cheek.
Mentioned you.
She said the tweet was there is good pods and great pods or something like that, like kind of making
Yeah,
fun
and
of-
I was like, I'm sitting here listening to Lauren, I'm like, what the hell? was like,
I really
oh.
wonder what the context was behind that. So, unlike podcasts where you can read their inflections, it's text. So, it's
So,
like, what was she being
She
sarcastic?
told me, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was when I was telling her about
Okay.
Grey Pod, she was like, I just heard about them yesterday because I was like, this is the next up and coming thing because she does a newsletter, and I was like, you got to check this out.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's so unfortunate that they have to fight against everybody knowing the name Good Pods. And when I said to her, that's so funny, I don't even know what Good Pods is. I just know Grey Pods. And so that's where
It's a
that
good
tweet
line.
came from, was her going, all right, there's Good Pods and Grey Pods.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Which is better.
To be fair, it is
great.
As somebody else made the joke this week, like we're running out of names for this shit already.
Yeah.
It's just like everything has pod in
this,
the name.
pod that.
Well, there's
Yeah.
Podfest,
Yes.
Podcast Movement.
PodCon? Is there a PodCon?
Yeah.
Podthon,
Yes.
which is what I spoke
Podthon.
at 2 weeks ago. So yeah, there is a lot. It's just, there, other industries don't do that so much. Like
Yeah.
there's just pod in everything.
Yeah. It's getting played out.
That was cool. I did appreciate. So I would just another shout out for this crew that's on the mics,
Home base.
here, the home base, because they were very supportive.
That was
over-
one nice thing about it. Well, I love that home base that we talked about.
Yes.
Like, we can go out, talk to a bunch of other people, but we have our home base.
Okay, yeah, well, yes, I agreed. That's number one. Number two is that they were very supportive of me getting out of my networking jitters.
Yeah.
They forced me to get out of my bubble and just meet people. Granted, I was nervous for some nights, talking really fast, but when I was talking to Ariel, instead of talking really fast, I was like casual,
You were great.
breathing,
yeah.
just having a
Practice.
nice conversation.
Yeah.
Listening, responding, and all that
And
stuff.
it's honestly practice.
We
We
talked
all
about
do it,
practice.
Right.
Yeah.
We did have a chance early in the week to chat with the guys from Stuff They Don't Want You to Know, which was cool.
Yeah. I was fast talking.
You were fast talking, but you're getting better at it. So as we're starting to wrap this up, would it be? What
We
is
done?
It? Well, it's 8 till,
We
so
got
we'll
10
start
minutes.
wrapping it up. So
We got 10 minutes. You don't wrap
Okay.
up 10 minutes before the show
all right,
ends.
this is going out on my
He does,
stream.
yeah.
I'm saying we're wrapping it up.
Wrap it up, man.
So,
Which is a nice way of saying your commentary is no longer entertaining.
We're done. I have a question for you, Jay.
What's that?
On your podcast, when you're interviewing people, what are you doing
What do you mean?
during, like, when I rambled on,
Yeah.
like, at my conversation?
He's listening.
Are you listening?
Yes
are you?
and no.
Are you're like typing? You're like, because you're not eyeing the camera.
Right. So my setup is my mic is here with the camera here, and my computer's right here. And so I'm doing one of two things. Either I'm completely bored out of my mind and I'm onto something else, or which I'm actually trying to do better at, like leaving my phone on my desk so at least I don't have multiple things
Yeah.
distracting me. Or I'm looking at if I did come in with questions. All right, is there anything else I haven't hit yet, and how can I get them from where they are to where I'm trying to go, especially as like we're trying to wrap up.
Yes.
But the reason, so you and I when we chatted a couple weeks ago, we're doing really well with that until the end. And then I let you go on a little long because I kind of just mentally checked out. But it was
knew it.
It wasn't your fault.
I could
it was
see
just
I could see
we had just gone on. We had gotten off the direction I thought we were going to go in, and I was out of questions, and I just left.
Every now and then, when I'm interviewing somebody, I'll make a note of a timestamp when, like, I loved something they said, or I wanted to go back to
that's a good
something,
idea.
so that it makes editing a little bit easier. But
Do you timestamp if like they're really boring? Because that's like the time to really timestamp. So
I
have
know.
nothing to
I
do.
definitely know. I know when you three check out when I tell a story. Like I picked
Then
up
why not?
him,
Do you
him
wrap it
because
up?
I know him the longest.
Yeah, he doesn't wrap
I
it up,
definitely
and I'm
know
like,
because
I have to, like, scream
we're
at
on
him.
phone calls and I'm talking and he's just like, yeah.
So do you take
And
that
He's not
internal?
digesting anything I said. You go on your phone.
Yes.
You like I pointed out like you're looking away from the camera. You're not even like responding. I'm like.
Well, thank
Okay,
you.
I
I'll
need
try to
to
do a
take the
better
hint.
job.
But
with
I
that.
take the hint and I wrap it up. I'm like, all right, I'll just
Okay.
talk to you later.
So
Yeah, you do have to.
so let's
I have
finish.
I have a friend who, when he knows that the person on the other end is not paying attention, he just hangs up.
Huh.
That's a good idea.
Doesn't even say anything. Just
I'm gonna
hangs
hang up on you, Corey.
I'm gonna hang up on you first.
Okay. So
This is where we're
let's
at, you guys.
finish with
4
like
days.
what's coming up with all of our work, because I do
Okay.
want my listeners to like. I mean, they already checked out y'all's, but either way, like, what is coming up with Grey Pods, Salad with Side of Fries, and whichever of your 10 billion things that you want to shout out.
Yeah.
We'll go in
Imran
rotation.
first.
We'll go in rotation.
I mean, I'm just gonna keep curating. I want to curate more podcasts. Send them to me.
So if I have, and I do have listeners who are podcasters themselves, how can they, like, what are you looking for, and how can they best work with you?
Yeah, so especially I've been doing editorial for a few years now, and specifically now we're really trying to get the best moments of your podcast, not just the whole of the podcast, not just even the whole of the episode, but we want those moments, and we're gonna set. I mean, I think we already set this up. We're like a submission process, but yeah, we want. And this is good for just practice for editing in general, like finding that rhythm and flow in your podcast. Like, when does it dip down? When does it up? Not in necessarily it being boring, but just like as far as a story, like it, the ending, the beginning, that's what we're looking for. And I'd love to hear from. I'm going to reach out to all three of you.
So how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, that's I'd say Cory at HarkAudio.com.
Cory at Hark, and I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So, hey guys, Salad with a Side of Fries is more of the same. I will say this week's episode that aired, although now when this airs,
this'll
it
come out
won't
in a
be.
couple
Yeah,
weeks.
so who knows?
Yeah.
I have some awesome interviews coming up. I have a lot of listener-driven episodes coming up. Like we just did, the one that aired this week when we're recording, was about Olympians versus us. And we have some menu eating out things coming up that are listener driven, a couple nutrition nuggets that came as requests of people. So definitely send in your questions. Take requests. Let us know at Jenn Trepeck on all social media, JENNTREPECK.
And I do want to say before we jump to yours that we can all attest from being with you all week. Salad with a side of fries, it's real. It happens. We
She got
watch
it.
her
Very
eat
loose term,
almost nothing else.
You have to post the picture.
I'll
Yes.
put it
On all social.
I'll use it as the cover art for this. For
And
this
just so
episode.
you guys know, my shirt right now says "Do it for the fries."
That's true. It does say that.
I did not have this made. P.S. This is like a legit shirt that a friend
From
gave me.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
I have a social media question for you.
We just got the 5-minute time.
Oh,
He's
but
probably
before,
like,
before I
5
do
minutes
before I
left.
do my
Yeah.
thing, why don't you interact with us on more on Twitter?
So I
said
have
that
a hard
this
time.
morning.
I know.
Why
I'm
don't you
saying,
love us?
I said on Twitter, you guys are so good
Yeah.
on Twitter. I struggle with Twitter. I feel like Twitter requires such constant attention that it's not in my routine. And so I feel like when I check Twitter, it's constant catch up. I struggle with it.
Are your
admittedly.
interns posting, like making the scheduled posts, or are you doing the scheduled posts?
She's so active on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm much more active on Instagram.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I mean, we tweet.
I feel hurt because when I tag you
Wait.
and I don't get a like.
No,
or something.
please. No, we tweet a couple times a day and check it, but it's harder for me as a platform in general because I feel like it moves so fast that it requires so much attention in a day.
Yeah. I think it's valuable when ever since I started turning on the alert notifications for my only just for
Yeah, but
great
that can
pods.
get distracting.
Only for great pods,
but
though, if they tag
maybe
me.
taking a time out of the day each day to like really look at your Twitter feed, respond. It does. It just.
How about taking a time out of this recording to tell us what's coming up?
So
with
for great
Yeah,
pods,
that.
So for great pods, what we have upcoming, we're gonna do a lot of user testing. There's a lot of user testing going on. I'm really excited about the. God, see, you guys checked out. You guys fucking checked out. You guys fucking checked out.
We're
And I
taking
knew it.
pictures
I
while
knew
he
it.
talks.
I knew it. You guys fucking checked out. I
We
knew it.
just got the 2-minute
I'm
warning.
hanging up. I'm hanging up the phone right now.
Well,
Okay. Long story short,
No,
I'm
we
very
love
excited.
you. Go, go.
I'm
pitching yourself.
I'm very excited about
User
the connections
testing.
I made.
I heard you.
I'm very excited. God damn it! All right, I'm very excited about the connections I made here this week about building the bridge between creators and studios to independent critic writers.
did that well.
So that was a very good piece of the puzzle that I want to solve in audience growth, new audience growth, not the recycled current listeners. So I'm very excited for that. Hopefully, go visit greatpods.co for new reviews. If you like Rotten Tomatoes for entertainment, movies, and TV, you'll like Great Pods for podcasting. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Y'all know me, and thank you
Same
to
old
all
G.
y'all
The
today.
same old G.
OG.
Peace out.